Hi there. We get a lot of questions every year about hosting an open house or making sure that there's information where applicants can get everything they need to know in one spot. I think that's pretty challenging to do, but what we're going to try to do to make something accessible and easy for everyone is do a really quick overview sort of information session, which is a very brief programmatic overview. I'm aiming for about 10 minutes. I'm going to do it live, one shot, so we'll see how it goes. We're going to cover some sort of structure and fast facts, again, things we get a lot of questions about, as well as some of the philosophies, values, and priorities of the program. And we're going to go just some really brief overview of the core programmatic components, things that you'll find at every program: curriculum, rotations, capstone, costs, as well as how we view each of these components through our own lens and the approach that we take to the learning process. In general, for those of you who are unfamiliar, the Genetic Counseling Training Program at UNCG is centrally located in the state of North Carolina in Greensboro. We have our own building on campus. It's where our faculty offices are. There's a student workspace, a library, and 2 classrooms that are utilized by students. They're not the only classrooms that we use, but it's nice to have some that are just for us. As you've likely seen from the website, our leadership team is primarily composed of the program director, that's me, assistant program director, Randy Stewart, our research and capstone coordinator, Rachel Mills, our medical director, Dr. Pam Rittenauer, and our administrative support specialist, Marcia Griffin, who many of you will likely communicate with throughout the application process. Not listed here are all of the incredible adjunct faculty, individual lecturers, supervisors, and mentors we work with on a daily basis. And each year we aim to enroll 9 students, which, as many of you also probably know, is the national average. Often when people seek information about programs, they ask questions about coursework and rotations. I have all of that information captured in a few slides, but so much of what someone will experience in curriculum and rotations is really similar across programs, which is really what you want in terms of training a healthcare professional. So when people ask what makes a program unique, often they're wondering about the philosophies, values, and priorities of a program. So let's talk through some of ours. We approach all aspects of training as as integrated of a manner as possible. So using a holistic lens, students learn about concepts in molecular genetics, healthcare, education, counseling, and even more through the lens of how these components come together for an individual, for a family, and a community. Skills and concepts build upon themselves throughout each pillar of the program, from coursework to capstone and more. One of the things that is not necessarily entirely unique to us, but one that we are certainly more forward about, is an emphasis on personal and professional development. In order to be your best genetic counseling self, you need to understand who you are, what your biases are, and what you bring with you into the counseling space or counseling encounters. Some of our primary values that you'll see reflected in programmatic assignments, but also really in the culture of the program, from application review to daily encounters, are the idea of process, where emphasis is placed on how things are done to make core components transferable as content changes. Personal process of perspective taking and reflection for continued growth and development, and the development of community and communities of belonging, both within cohorts, between cohorts, within the program, and from the program to the communities in which we live. I wanted to take a quick moment to address the idea that UNCG is a psychosocial program. These designations always make me smile a little bit because they're very unofficial. There's no list that designates a program as one thing or another. And in fact, as I've already said, you're going to encounter all concepts in all programs, thanks to accreditation standards that ensure genetic counselors as healthcare providers have quality training no matter where they train. Given that, I will say that UNCG is a program with a holistic focus on genetics and health, that there is a priority for as much of a tailored training experience as possible, with an emphasis on the development of the person and the professional throughout the training process. And we do have a class called Psychosocial Seminar. And so if that means to you that we are a psychosocial program, then okay. Please just note that you will absolutely be learning about molecular genetics, clinical genetics, and all sorts of technical information alongside everything else. And you can expect to learn psychosocial concepts even in programs that are not given a psychosocial designation. As a quick summary overview of our rotation structure, as I mentioned, skills and rotations build upon themselves over time. So to start, all students complete observational rotations in the fall of the first year, with introductory skill building experiences in the spring through pedigree taking across subspecialties. Full-time rotations start in the summer with 1 7-week rotation. 4 more 7-week rotations follow, split between the fall and the spring of the second year. Within that series of 5 full-time rotations, there's 1 prenatal, 1 pediatrics and adult, 1 cancer, and 1 additional clinical, either combination or single specialty based on student experience and preference, as well as 1 non-clinical rotation, which might be in a wide variety of settings, from laboratory to research, education, advocacy, public health, leadership, a combination of those things sometimes, and more. We also have rotations at various locations across the state, which allows for the opportunity to work with a really wide variety of counselors with different styles, so that you can determine styles that work for you, get an understanding of people who've trained at different backgrounds, different patient populations, different patient needs, and different healthcare structures even within one state. In thinking about the capstone experience, genetic counselors are healthcare providers who are sort of somewhat uniquely charged with being informed consumers and quality producers of literature. So the purpose of the capstone project or the capstone experience is to prepare students with the knowledge and skills required to contribute to the field of genetic counseling. That may be through things like a detailed case study, through clinical applications or original clinical and sometimes laboratory research projects, although we haven't had anybody do bench research for a capstone in a very long time. In general, the project ideas come from various sources based on personal interest, as well as people who contribute opportunities to us. There is support and mentorship throughout. As I mentioned, Rachel works with every single person in every project, so we've got a lot of tailored partnered support. And in terms of outcomes, there's abstract submission to NSGC or a similar meeting, as well as manuscript publication or manuscript construction that is as available or ready to be submitted for publication as possible. In terms of curriculum, the course listing is available on the website, so I'm not going to go through it sort of line by line. I would say structurally, students complete coursework over 21 months, which includes 2 courses over the summer session between the 2 primary academic years. And in terms of some upper level highlights, again, the skills and concepts build over the course of the entire program. So when things need to be updated, we do that based on feedback from students, from alumni, as well as through accreditation processes. We work really hard to have there be an integrated approach so that it mimics this real life and sort of gives you the opportunity to practice as you play in terms of real life applications. And we work with dozens and dozens of regional and national experts, and everything from individual lectures to multi-part workshops to adjunct faculty. And we do have some highlights in firsthand personal experience with advocacy, disability, and family and community impact. We are definitely running short on time, so I want to quickly add in that UNCG has a long-standing history of over 20 years of training genetic counselors and a really proven track record that we're really proud of. We have an extensive alumni network, as well as really long-standing relationships within the state and the region. All of the data that people are looking for is on the website and captured here. And we've been really fortunate to work with some really incredible students throughout the years. A few brief notes about cost and assistance. While much of this information is online, I also understand that sometimes it can be challenging to find and piece together. So as a quick overview, the summary that is listed here is without any financial aid or assistance whatsoever. We have been able to offer some form of funding to all enrolled students for the past several years, and we always aim to do so. We discuss the details of what's available in any given year during the interview process in a lot of detail. As a state institution, we don't set tuition rates. This slide is labeled as anticipated because it is possible that it may change slightly, though the state does set a maximum increase of 3% at any given time, so changes are not expected to be significantly different than what you see here. Please keep in mind that one of the biggest benefits, I think, of being a state of North Carolina institution is that out-of-state students can apply for residency reclassification in the second year, which dramatically reduces the cost of attendance. There are not quite as many states that allow for residency classification for tuition purposes after 1 year, but North Carolina is one of those. There are connections on campus that can assist students with this process, and we also provide in-depth information regarding ways to initiate the process to maximize the chances for reclassification and updated tuition status. We do have several opportunities for financial support, ranging from tuition reduction or waivers and stipends through graduate assistantship opportunities to scholarships. All of that is discussed during the match. And then beyond the match, we have additional scholarship opportunities with the LEN program or through the School of HHS or the Graduate School at UNCG, among others. We also do what we can to provide support and assistance for things like attendance at meetings, as well as other educational experiences. So I'm a little bit over my 10-minute goal. That was a really quick overview. Please join us on social media for updates to see what the students are up to and to stay connected. As always, I look forward to hearing your questions, and we hope that you find your roots here.